Yeah, so my understanding of it, dude, is the what they're buying is the limited blockchain record, the limited. It's an NFT is a type of false scarcity because the content itself can be copied, and the cost of reproduction is zero. So
Yep.
that would be why you could copy it. But what can't be copied is the record on the blockchain. The record on the
Yeah, I
blockchain,
get you.
that one thing that, and the reason this is all happening now for the first time is because the technology hasn't existed before. There haven't been enough nodes in the network to support a distributed ledger, meaning that we have never had this opportunity before to create a database that can't really be altered by any one player unless they obtain the political will to completely destroy the network. In other words,
Okay.
it's a very difficult thing to do. It's probably easier to become the president of the United States than it is to disrupt a blockchain record when it's got 10,000 people. It's like, so there's a sense of trust. That's what this all is. This is all about trust. All right, trust is the missing resource since the product, in our case, digital products, since they're free to copy, they're free to copy. There's no price. It's not like printing a T-shirt. So what does that mean? And what that means is that we're no longer selling the content. The content itself isn't what people are after. People are after trust. People are after trusted relationships. Now, at this point in time, it's about community building because the next wave of web. Okay, so I'm always talking about the future. I'm kind of digressing a bit here, but to answer your question, they are buying a record that everybody knows can't be faked or spoofed or bought.
Okay.
I mean, it can be bought by the original buyer, but it's a commodity that is now for trade. Okay,
Okay.
that limited appeal of an NFT. They're not buying the actual digital data. They're not buying, in the case of an artwork, 1 megabyte of pixel data. That's something that everyone can get. But what this does is very interesting. And according to these talks I've been listening to, what that does is it incentivizes artists to actually distribute their work even more widely for free because your value becomes an idea in someone's mind, if that makes sense. Your value isn't really your value is how many people are searching for you on Google, how many people
Yeah.
associate something cool with your name. Everyone's seen that cool thing, everyone's heard that cool thing, everyone's watched that cool YouTube video. But at this point in time, it's quite a cool time because if you can get your work verified by a blockchain with a trusted number of people, that means that it's going to be very difficult for people to like claim that your work is theirs at a later stage. It's going to be quite transparent who wrote the original song or whatever, and this is going to blow copyright out of the water. So there's all these things. There's all these things that I'm in the early stages of researching it. Basically, my pet project now is to try and get my first NFT up on OpenSea. But I've got
Okay.
to work out some of the crypto stuff first. I'll let you know how it goes, man. That's what these chats are for. I want to be able to
Yeah.
share the knowledge and yeah, I'll report back and pave the way, basically.
No, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So I'm just copying that video that I mentioned. Just with the extra sort of stuff that he speaks about, because obviously in the metaverse the whole point there is crypto. It's obviously nothing else, right? And then the various ways. So you mentions a couple of, well, he says it's a problem, so he mentions the good things and the bad, sort of all of this. So yeah, I think it's well, the link is there, you can check it out. But
All right. Cool.
if you are like, so say somebody did that for like whichever South African big artist, right? Like maybe 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then so the interest would be higher, but that person still doesn't have a stake in. So like versus an actual investment into, say, an artist, right? So like, say if somebody, when you started, somebody came up to you and said, you know what, I'm going to produce your demo for you for 10% of your, for the rest of your life kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then it's almost, yeah, so that's like it's shares anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a new school version of that.
It's new school, and the difference is we're trusting software
Yeah.
to do the revenue
Yeah.
splits for us now, the smart contracts, as opposed
That's
to
true. Yeah.
trusting the manager of the money, because we can all
Mm.
see that when you put
Yeah.
people in charge of big sums of money, all of the promises go flying out the window. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that often happens. So what we're looking
Exactly.
at now is like,
Exactly.
I think this is the early stages of people saying, you can't really cheat math. You can cheat other people, but you can't really break. So anyway, there's always a scallum. There's always a way to game the system or rig the system, but
Yeah.
it's an alternative to what's currently happening, because musicians, content creators, or whatever, artists are just getting squashed, man. We're getting squashed. Like today, I got an email from some guy. Hi, can I use your music in my video? I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead, just credit me. And then just out of interest, I check his videos, and he's been using my music for like days, and no credit and
No
everything.
credit.
And that's fine, because I get it, the
Mm.
system's broken. But wouldn't it be nice if it was if everybody who saw his video went, cuck video, but that song's cool, could immediately run a scan and then have a
Mm.
verified record of who the original artist was on a ledger that everybody trusts, because you can't fake it because it's the rules of maths, and then tell their friends about it, and then the more, or some, and then maybe even download it for themselves, upload it somewhere else, and then wherever it plays, that stream results
Mm.
in revenue for the original artist. This is how it should be.
Yeah.
So total overhauling of the royalty system. It's like royalties 10.0,
Mm.
except that we've got one big problem, which is the actual content ID, the music recognition services are going to have to
Mm.
avail their databases to all of these NFT platforms in order for those matches
Mm.
to happen. And whenever that happens, whenever there's money at stake, then you get bad players who are immediately going to now upload all of Michael Jackson's material so they can get a quick cash in of those early
Yeah.
streams, or their account gets blocked. And then it's back to square one. That doesn't help. So there's a bunch of problems to
True.
be solved, but I still think it's going in the right direction. I still think that placing the trust less on people, especially in the industry, like unscrupulous like the
Mm.
industry can be, and more on software and smart contracts. That's what the diffusion of information is about. We need to start placing more trust in these systems. You know,
Yeah. I get so
you have
what was that app? Shazam or something? Was it Shazam, which would like easily identify? So like if they took over and say spoke to YouTube or whichever the biggest platform will be like in a year's time, right? It's okay, cool. Here's our algorithm, here's our, and then you just do, and then straight away, because like you said, then you're not having to rely on anyone just uploading the ID in the first place. And that's the problem. Like 50% of people might do that. Um, yeah, man. I mean, they could make a chunk of bucks like that as well, right? Because then like everyone would need that service. And I imagine they don't, I don't know. I haven't seen someone Shazam something in a while. Right? It's just like it felt like a trendy thing at a time. Right. But yeah, I mean, if their business is going down, that would be a great way for them to get their 2.0 and actually make more money with it. Right. Because then every service would need that.
yeah,
Like if they had a Shazam for creators, right? And then that would be whenever you upload something, make sure that you add this Chrome attachment to whatever, and then it's cool. Then that way, that makes sure that all of your content will have that stream enabled straight away.
yeah.
Um,
But
yeah, sure.
it still goes against the very principles like of Web 3.0, because what
Yeah,
happens then? Shazam, their stock price goes through the roof. Suddenly now
yeah,
Shazam is a big multinational, whatever. They got all the bucks, and then we're back exactly where the problem is. And the problem is that
mm,
Shazam becomes Spotify, and Spotify
yeah,
can only expand
mm,
by treating the human beings who create the work that they've built their empire on as a resource rather than
yeah,
as shareholders. That's the
mm,
main thing that needs to change. And the benefit of having a DAO, okay, distributed autonomous organization. I haven't looked too much into this, but the very core principle is decentralization, and the stakeholders are the users, as we now call them, the people who have a Facebook profile or whatever profile, Spotify profile. These are currently called users. The idea is the users are becoming the shareholders, and what that does is it changes things, because the users now no longer have this kind of roundabout, indirect way of interacting with the service. Right now, I think I'm going to put my stuff on Facebook so that I can get likes or get noticed, so that I can take some of that attention and then, you know, trickle it down. Some of that traffic can go to my Bandcamp page where people can buy my album. That's how we currently think. What about a situation where Facebook, but a much smaller version of it, much more specific and local and regional and like much more specific to the people involved? What if you were someone who got paid every time your little mini Facebook, your DAO, grew and expanded? And the more people, it's not just about the more people though, it's about the quality of attention too. So you have a group of people who are invested, literally invested in this thing, and that thing that they're invested in provides value to other people in some way. And when it grows, they get paid. So it's a company, it's sort of a company, but it's also this sort of non-hierarchical type of company. So I'm going to look into that next too, see what a DAO is, see how to get our heads around this, because it's coming. You know it's coming. Everyone knows it's coming. Facebook is getting hammered in the news. People are starting to see these tech giants for who they are. So get off my soapbox here, and I want to encourage the musicians here, like you guys, to start like also looking at yourself as the center of the operation, and not so much this thing like at the bottom trying to climb up. Start to look at yourself as the source of the information, that the source of the stuff that people want. Yeah. People need us. They need inspiration. People need to be reminded that they used to play a bit of guitar or whatever. They want that feeling. They really want it. They're just too busy right now. But we're all getting a lot less busy, like literally, like we're doing less work than ever. Like it doesn't seem like that, but
yeah, well, more work in general, but or less work in general, but more effort maybe. Like we're always trying to be more efficient than yesterday, kind of thing. And also at the same time not screwed over like yesterday. But yeah, I'm with you. There's like it's also the way that South Africa specifically, like we're always going to be. Well, it felt like 2 years, maybe in 2012. Now it's more like a year behind whatever trend is, right? So musically, like we get it more from the UK anyway, but like if it happened in the States, then like a year later it will be here, right? So, but now we have the benefit of sort of seeing it happen in the States first, and then being one of the first people to, when it gets here, to sort of be ready for it, right? I mean, this NFT thing specifically and all that, right? But I don't know, there's that like the content creation, right? So like, I mean, Django, so I saw your name on one of those tracks. Are you singing on there? Or like, will you be performing with Dasha, all of that?
No, I mean, it's just a producer role basically.
Okay.
Wrote the track, and then she sang. She did do a little backing vocal layer. It was literally it was like processed to hell. It's just nice. To make something slightly different on one of the variations. But no, but I mean in general, sorry, why do you ask?
No, just with the work that you've been doing, trying to, like your effort at the moment is your name. It's professional and it's more marketing. I don't think you did this to get the paycheck out of it, right? It's progressing you to another stage of your career, right? So now you've done more record label style work with that, right? Then it sounded like that you've done before, right? So you're also learning quite a lot there. But then if we just come comparing what John is talking about, right, and then just because you have a current sort of platform and production platform actually to get something out, right? You've done the 2021 version of that, right? So then by the sounds of it, the 2022 version or 23 version will have more of this NFT style stuff in there. Yeah. And also, like if one of your fans only wants to pay you via crypto things and stuff like that and all that, right, then that eventually will become the way. But yeah, the reason why I asked like specifically there, right, like because most of the time it's the producer that is freaking doing all the effort, right? Somebody gets to sing, and then their neighbors on there, and they just look like they did the whole thing, right? So, I don't know, like, so I mean, I'll ask this question again later because it's slightly off topic, but I mean, the general split between the composition and the recording things, like I know some artists just like to do a 50-50 thing anyway, and then that just seems like why the problem is like it shouldn't be that. But then, because I mean, like what John is talking about is as if you are the sole artist or, the sole artist, a singer-songwriter kind of thing. But then when it comes to things like that, and then a band where it's sort of 5-6 people, after still that same freaking thing, Yeah, so actually, I don't know. Like I mentioned, other than a cover band, like what's the point of being in a band? Just versus the rest of the stuff. I'm not that sounds hectic, but you know what I mean. It's like if it's for the money, right? Like it's just cool. Let me rather split it by 5 than by 1 or 2. You know?
Yeah, for the money, it's always that's something that's often come back to me is where I was in a few bands and I sort of felt like artistic quote unquote artistic integrity often overtook the desire for people to actually make money with a
Yeah,
band.
I get.
And I think it can be done, but there is a bit of a formula, a bit of a game to play. And I guess I was always happy to have to play that game somewhere if there was one band that's actually making some money, and then I can have we can all have our passion projects, you know.
Mm.
But have something where you're also playing the game. I don't know.
Yeah, you sound like
It's
a
just
grown up.
been.
Yeah. What happened to you, Peter Pan?
That's just
Used to be about the passion, man. No, I'm with you.
so.
Totally.
I guess I mean that's just a thing. Yeah, it's just like it never bothered me if a band was going to go that way, the sort of just make some money way, because I was like, it doesn't negate anything else I'm doing. I still have passion projects. Having said all that, I mean, yeah, okay, a few things you touched on there was, I mean, firstly, the system is broken. The system, like, we knew it was broken, but then when people couldn't perform, they really realized it wasn't broken. Oh, great, now I get to fall back on my 0.0001% like income from Spotify. You know, it's like, it's absurd. And it seems wrong for me. It seems wrong to me that the only way for them to make money then was to basically teach and you know, I don't know, basically not do what they're doing. That just seems yeah, it just seems like the signs of a very, very broken system. um and it always still bothers me a bit that people carry on playing the game, and now I'm guilty of it. But I was on the fence for so long. I didn't really want to put my stuff up there, and then eventually it was just like, all right, some people will support me on Bandcamp, but some people want that convenience factor, and I'd rather be everywhere than just one place. So it was like, it was really a dilemma for me in terms of my own EP earlier this year, was like to even put it on those platforms. I kind of didn't want to. um I know of someone who does a week exclusive on Bandcamp, like he'll put it up there for a week, tell people, so it promotes the heck out of it for it just being there, and then after that it goes up on streaming services. And that's kind of cool, because if you want to support it directly, then you will have, but you still might want that convenience factor. I'll buy something and then I'll end up streaming it anyway. I'd like, at least the guy's still making something from my listens, even if it's fuck all.
It needs to be creative.
So
We can do better than assuming that each track we put out needs to have a name, be 3 to 6 minutes, be put into an album format. I mean, I'm toying with the idea now for this upcoming release to do the streaming services for all of the basic tracks, just tracks 1 to 10 on streaming, but then make it known to everyone that I can with my own voice that there is a storytelling version. So in between tracks, you're taking them on a journey, and you are free to do that now as the people who've got the gear to do it. We don't have to worry about how much time it's going to cost us in the studio, or whether it's going to work on radio or anything. We can actually take charge of our own stuff, is what I'm saying. So what about that? What about see, you've got to be remarkable. You in some way, you've got to do something that isn't just, oh, John Bartman's making music again. No one cares. No one's even fucking heard of John Bartman. No one cares what John Bartman does. But oh, there's this cool thing you should hear. I don't know who it's by. I don't know what it's about, but it's some Cape Town guy, because and now there's a story. It's like a music story. Oh, that's cool. That sounds cool. Da, 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 da. Doesn't matter who you are. The point is you've done something for them. That's what being remarkable is. And I look at this next chapter as, I don't know what's going to happen with me and my creative side, but I just cannot step and lily hop the same path that everyone else has done, because it doesn't work. It got me here. I'm 40 and it didn't work. So now I've got to just fuck everything up. That's my strategy from now on. It's just fuck everything up. Whatever they think an artist is, you go the opposite way. Surprise people. Don't piss them off. Don't be an idiot. But surprise people with what's possible. They don't know that you've got a recording system in your house. They still think that you're going to Abbey Road and paying a cuck ton of money and all of this, the spell, storytelling and the mythology that goes around it. That's what people think of when they think of a new. You can surprise people. You can actually do your own thing. Let's do it. Let's do our own thing. Let's collaborate. This thing with Tasha is amazing. I applaud her inventiveness. I think what she needs to do is immediately start looking at like turning this into not just a once-off album release, but like an ongoing community that is basically the people in this area who tend to collaborate on projects, because they're very few and far between. Unite them, fly the flag, call it Polyoto, create a Discord channel, look into DAOs, get people to invest in it in the long term. Imagine, Django, that she said to you, you're going to get paid, not in Bandcamp royalties or bits and pieces that go through her. Imagine that you were part of Polyoto, and the way that you were building it meant that every month you were going to get whatever, $50 at first for your part in it. And that would be a combination of streams and sales and interest and tickets and da-da-da. Everyone who is part of it gets the benefit of it. And there's no boss that your salary goes through. Smart contract. Imagine that. So, I mean, that's this type
I
of
know. I mean, that's where it should be at this point by now. I mean, that's one of the things I liked about just using like that SoundCloud distribution thing. It like makes sense that you'd be able to handle some of that stuff, the royalty splits and stuff online. But the next level would definitely be blockchain based, because then it's, harder to dispute.
Did you manage to do the smart contracts thing through, the SoundCloud automated splits? Was there ever a successful transaction in your case?
Well, it was, I linked it to like your SoundCloud and a few others. So I know that I must see how it goes there's a release that I've had on it before I signed up myself. I was a remixer and I had to sign up to receive royalties, and I can check statements and stuff. So like, as someone who didn't go through the sign up process, I was already able to sort of see the system at work.
Okay, I see. Yeah, super cool, man. Great.
But yeah, it is a very interesting concept. I mean, I saw BT released an album. I think he's done an NFT. What is his? It's just BT. Is it .net? Let me just see. It could be BT Music, and I've switched browsers, so it's not going to show up. Let's go Google.
No.
It is btmusic.com. They've like built a whole web interface for it and stuff. And it's probably worth. I mean, he's always talking about some future thing. Metaversal, that's his album name.
Metaversal.
I'm gonna drop the link. Yeah, it was before Facebook decided to call themselves Meta, but it is a common term. In fact, that's only tainted the whole fucking thing. I think Facebook call themselves Meta. So it's like, oh great, now nobody's gonna know what anyone's talking about. Thanks. So if you go down, you can actually stream it. You can enter, and then it takes you to this like web player that plays the album. And apparently there's a different album or different sequence that plays at night versus in the day, and various other things. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. An album imagined as a pragmatic blockchain experience. Audio reactive art music adapts to time and collection of physical art from the audio waveforms of the songs themselves. Interesting.
Yeah, well, like I've been wanting to check that out, right? Like when we were speaking about just artwork and the thumbnails and a little bit of a story that, as John does his tracks and all that, right? It's like I'm not gonna make a freaking video for other freaking people, but I want to put it up on my YouTube thing, and just always been wanting to do that. Just you record something that you're playing through, just generating, your graphic EQs, whatever it is, just going to your music. Like that's at least something that just versus a static, static picture. Can you recommend anything there? Oh, like because I mean there have to be a few of those kind of apps.
I've heard that. I mean, if you have, I think it's an Adobe thing, After Effects. Yeah. If you have their suite, seems like some people use that. I actually ended up using FL Studio's got like a thing in it called Z Game Editor Visualizer or something.
Didn't know that. Cool.
And I think I used that one. They've got like templates for albums and various different things inside it. There's ones that's like a CDJ, and I don't know. They've got like you can swap out the images, which I think I did. Put the album cover in there. So yeah, there are a couple of options.
Okay, thanks. Reason to install FL Studio.
Yeah, if you have it.
Yeah.
I've only ever installed it for the ASIO driver.
Oh.
the last few versions, I've just been using that because I can stream with that driver. It sort of runs directly to OBS, picks it up as like desktop audio for some reason on Windows.
Strange how that's like a nice kicker for you to recommend FL Studio.
Yeah. Yeah, everything except the actual music making side of it.
Exactly.
Knock FL, man. A lot of South African music gets made on FL Studio.
Yeah.
Hell yes. It's amazing how much actually. At least a lot of people are starting on it as well. I just thought everyone was like me and just got their free freaking Reason thing first and eventually bought it and stuff. What's that? What am I hearing?
It's a fan, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's my only fan.
Yeah, that is how none of us can freaking just be okay with a random noise in the background.
What is it?
Gents, I think I have to bounce.
Let's bail.
Thanks. Yeah, today was quite informative as well, man. Thanks for the links. And stuff.
Thanks for that.
Sure thing. Wish me luck. I'm going down the rabbit hole with this NFT shit. My goal is to release my first NFT on OpenSea. And when I figured out how to do that, I'll keep you guys in the loop.
Lovely, man. Thanks.
Sweet.
I look forward
I'm
to
going
that.
to check out that metaverse problem, that YouTube video. I've grabbed that as well.
Yeah.
I put it and then I updated the links. You weren't here the last time, but I mentioned Django. The South African Music Law and Copyrights is a book by Nick Matsoutkis. I put a link in there to at least an article on the book.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I read that like
shared document. Sorry, Ross.
Yep. That's it. And then the other one was the Roger Hamilton, that book, Wealth Dynamics. So long story short is how I pretty much chose the route that you did eventually, Django, just once I knew the laws and contracts and copyrights, and then just the way it's about finding your flow. And I just didn't feel that finding your flow as an artist was actually worthwhile versus actually being a composer with a studio, so but that book over there, he breaks it down very well as to identifying your main profile and your secondary one, which is good, but it takes away from your main profile. So it's just about
awesome. I see that.
So if you guys are that made a difference for me anyway. So cool, guys.
Awesome.
Nice one, Ross. Thanks for pulling through, dudes. Be in touch. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Good luck with your stuff, Ed. Chat to you soon, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Cheers, guys.
Adios.
Thanks, Ed.